energy around the world, and a lot of that will be in advanced energy technology. So we hope to get Ohio's share of that. Next slide. We're building on a significant base. As you can see, we have about 400 companies, 25,000 employees in advanced energy in Ohio today. We have a whole range of metrics on there that you can see where we have established ourselves as a leader in advanced energy, and particularly in wind-related as well as energy efficiency. We have some of the leading companies in the country that are in these fields. So here's a snapshot of our current membership base. We have 100+ organizations in membership. You can see on the left side of the screen the industry categories that are represented by these members. Again, we have been at this now for about a year and a half, and have built up a very significant set of companies that are involved. So we've got a broad range of benefits that we offer members. Probably first and foremost is the advocacy and the unified voice that we provide for the industry. So as all of you know, energy is very policy driven, so decisions that are made at the state and federal level often determine the opportunities that are available for companies in our sector. So we focus very heavily on educating legislators as well as other state officials, working with the governor's office and others, as well as helping our regional partners make their case at the local level. So we have a value proposition that basically boils down to 4 pillars. The first is to get involved, which is the advocacy part of what we're talking about. How do we shape policy? How do we shape initiatives that help our industry move forward? The second is to get connected. We help companies actually connect with one another. There are obvious opportunities for partnerships on many of the advanced energy projects around the state. So providing an insight into who else is in the industry and how you might connect with them is part of what we do. The third is to get visible. In the case of particularly smaller companies, it's a way for them to raise their visibility within the industry so that investors, partners, and others can actually see them, understand what they do, and connect with them. And the final part of our value proposition is to get smart, so really providing an insight into what's coming in energy, both from a policy standpoint as well as technology, financing, you name it. Our goal is to provide that kind of insight and education. So an example of the kind of work that we have done is Senate Bill 310, but let me just give you kind of an overview of the things that have been going on in the State House. Senate Bill 221, which was passed back in 2008, established Ohio's energy standards, essentially requiring the utilities to purchase a portion of their generation from renewables and to implement energy efficiency programs. That was 2008. Just 2 years ago, Senate Bill 315 was passed, and this was really Governor Kasich's initiative. He expanded the standards and really strengthened, I think, the overall law in Ohio. We've also been following House Bill 336, which has to do with incentives for alternate fueled vehicles. And then the beginning of kind of a rollback in Ohio began with Senate Bill 58 last fall. Again, Ohio Advanced Energy Economy joined forces with the Ohio Consumers Council, the Ohio Manufacturers Association, the Ohio Hospital Association, and a whole range of companies in the state to stop what was essentially a radical rollback of Ohio's energy standards. But then along came Senate Bill 310 in the spring of this year. It was a bill that was drafted and pushed by the Ohio Senate President The idea was to pause the energy standards for 2 years while a study was conducted on costs and benefits. We were able to engage not only our members who were actively involved in working with legislators on this, but also our coalition partners to advocate on behalf of our industry. The basic driver behind this bill was concerns on the part of certain industry folks as well as the utilities that energy efficiency and renewable energy cost too much, and that given the shale gas bonanza we have in the state, we ought to stop and rethink whether or not we need these standards. It's our belief, and we have advocated this very forcefully, that while shale gas is a wonderful development for Ohio, the reality is we need all forms of energy, a diverse portfolio of energy, as well as energy efficiency to be able to really compete in what's going to be a much tighter, more expensive electricity market going down the road. So we are currently advocating the bill passed and was signed by the governor, and the Energy Standards Study Committee will be meeting probably later this year to begin evaluating costs and benefits. We plan to be very heavily engaged in making the case in support of those standards. So we have momentum. There are those who feel that Senate Bill 310 set us back, and while it did set the state of Ohio back, particularly in the view of the rest of the nation, since we're the first state to have taken a pause on the standards, we nevertheless have an industry that's really taking off. It's been supported and helped accelerate the launch with the use of the energy standards that were on the books. As you can see here, there are projects that are moving forward around the state, and we believe that we will continue to make progress during this pause, and that the standard will come back and we will continue to accelerate the growth of our industry.
So with that, Mr. Syriac, would like for you to talk a little bit about your experience as a board member of the Ohio Advanced Energy Economy. You're obviously very involved in the Senate Bill 310 initiative, as well as involved with the planning for our upcoming symposium on November 6th. So if you could...
Absolutely. And John, you can hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for your time this morning. Just a bit about myself and my company. I think a few of the registrants are familiar with us, but for those of you who aren't, my own background is with energy efficiency, and my firm, Go Sustainable Energy, is focused on providing unbiased, accurate information on energy efficiency to our clients. So what we don't do is sell products. We don't install or manage installations. We're usually not doing, actually, we never do the design engineering. So we have a particular niche in the advanced energy world of focusing on energy efficiency and increasingly other distributed forms of energy, and providing the advice and consulting. So we work with a lot of the other member companies of OAEE. But I've been in the energy efficiency sector for 13 years now, most of it in Ohio, and I started Go 8 years ago. And so I have seen over the years some pretty significant and dramatic changes in the business field, both from a regulatory and policy perspective, and also just from a plain business perspective, how many businesses are out there and what they're doing. So my experience with this organization, and since I've been involved from the start, some of the ad hoc groups that existed before Ohio Advanced Energy Economy, it's meant different things to me at different times as the industry grows and as this organization grows and as my own company grows. I've gotten different values out of it. So I wanted to share that. Early on, I think a lot of my objectives for being involved with different organizations were to learn about different programs and things like that to learn about technologies. When I got started, that's what I was focused on, was learning. And certainly that opportunity is there through OAEE with the conferences and other events. You learn a lot. I then moved on to really, as my business was growing, my focus was, for a few years, really finely tuned to networking and exposure. Meaning if I wasn't talking to a potential client, I probably wasn't there. So, and this organization has helped with that too. Exposure and networking is still really important to our business, but for a time that was the main thing we needed to do as a business, was meet other businesses and organizations. And so this organization has helped, OAEE has helped with that too. Where I'm at now and where our company is that there's become increasing importance in just being able to take the pulse of what's going on. And that's probably one of the most important things for me, and being a member of this organization and supporting it, and then also being involved, has really had a lot of benefits. And I would say the way I've structured my business and the markets that we work in, the customers we work with, I think are significantly impacted by our involvement with OAEE. And the reason why is because I've been able to get a fuller picture of this landscape. And so sometimes that's regulatory issues. 5 years ago, I never thought I would have to think about regulatory issues with the electric industry or gas industry. I thought that was someone else's problem and domain, and I've learned that really does impact my business, and sometimes in an unfair way. And so I need to know what's going on in the regulatory space. It also helps me move my business as changes happen in regulation. I know how to position my business. It could be policy, so staying tuned in with the legislative battles Ted was describing, from 221 to 315 to Senate Bill 58 to Senate Bill 310. Each of those bills would have or is affecting my business in different ways. And for those of you who are running a business or own your business, you know how much is at risk when you invest and grow a business. And so knowing what's coming, knowing how the state of efficiency or renewable energy is going to get pushed around by different policies really helps me plan for the future, right? I don't want to build a business model and invest in a certain type of service and have it disrupted 3 months later. And so knowing what's coming and then having the power and the voice to help shape what's coming has been really important. So taking the pulse and seeing the landscape from a regulatory perspective, from a policy perspective, and then also, frankly, from a business perspective. What I found recently is that I don't know all the companies and people in this industry anymore. Seeing the list of the 100+ member companies that are in our organization is a little bit mind-blowing to me, because 6-7 years ago, you would have had 10. And it was a lot easier for me to know everyone in the space and keep track of what was going on when there were 10 companies that were focused on these services and technologies. And now it's over 100. It's probably well over 100. And so it has helped me to see who are the peer companies. And what's resulted is I end up teaming with some of the other member companies. Sometimes I'm contracting to them for services, sometimes contracting to me. But it changed how we serve our clients, because we have a better understanding of what the other businesses and services technologies are out there. And it's growing somewhat exponentially. So keeping a being able to take the pulse and the temperature of where the industry is moving and what our role is within that has been really helpful. And even knowing who are our competitors, who's part of this organization that's doing the same thing, who's part of this organization that isn't. So that has been incredibly helpful from the self-interest perspective of knowing how to position my business in the best way possible. And then last thing I'd say is, and I alluded to this, being educated and knowing what the regulatory changes are, what the policy changes are, what are the technological and business model changes that are happening every day, has given, I feel like it's giving me and my organization power to position ourselves, but then in the regulatory and policy world, it's also to influence. And when it comes to that, that's where all 100 plus of our businesses really have common ground with this organization, is to look at what are the policies being put in place. Are they fair to our industry or not? And how do we advocate and stand up for ourselves? And I think Ted said it well, that this is the only organization that's representing the broad spectrum of advanced energy businesses and organizations in Ohio. And so there's somewhat of a responsibility, I think, to join OAEE and be a member, so that as an industry and as a trade, we can stand up and essentially defend ourselves and advocate for ourselves, because there is no one else out there doing this. If this organization didn't exist, it would be, frankly, it'd be Sierra Club advocating for what we do. That's not the right messenger. The right messenger is the businesses that are providing the services and products and doing the innovation should be contributing to the policy debates. And Ted and Brett and their team have done a great job the last year and a half helping do that. So my pitch to prospective members on the phone is, one, I have gotten an extraordinary amount of value from being a member and being involved in the organization. Two, we all need to be members, because if we don't stand strong together, if we don't continue to grow the organization, there's other entities out there that don't want to see the services and the products that we're providing proliferate. They want to end it, and they'll do their best to do that. So I'd encourage you to join for even just that reason, to be part of the group here and help stand up for our industry. With that, John, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. That was very well put, and I would just add to what you're saying. The more members that we have, the bigger our footprint and our stronger our advocacy can be across the state. It also enables us to form stronger partnerships with other statewide organizations like the Manufacturers Association to amplify our voice even further. So very good, well put. So I would just like to close by making a statement that despite kind of the setback of Senate Bill 310, we do have momentum. We are driving forward, and we're going to have a conference here on November 6th, which will be 2 days after the election. It'll be in Columbus, across the street from the State House, and it's called Ohio's Energy Future. And this, again, is a unique conference in that we are not looking at kind of the immediate here and now trends, but instead, where are things going, and what do we need to be doing, both as businesses and as a state, to prepare for the challenges and opportunities that are out there. We're focusing on industry tracks, so we have manufacturing and industrial focus sessions, as well as buildings and commercial, regional initiatives such as the Toledo Port Authority's PACE program, as well as advanced transportation. And across each of those sectors, we're going to be looking at innovation, what's new, what's coming, investment, how can you pay for it? Obviously, with the energy standards suspended for the moment, it changes the dynamics of investment, but there are many new ways to go forward, and we want to talk about those with the the broader industry group. And finally, empowerment. Who's done it, and what were their lessons learned? What would they do differently if they did it again? And again, provide a blueprint for anyone that wants to implement, for example, combined heat and power, understand what the ramifications of that was. Anybody that wants to integrate renewables into their facility, all kinds of advanced energy technologies as well as energy efficiency. We're going to dive deep into all of those. So we would encourage all of you to sign up as members and get the member discount to come to our symposium. So again, November 6th, Sheraton Hotel at Capitol Square.
And just to add to that, we're expecting about 450 business leaders to be attending this event, business leaders and politicals. And you'll see as more information rolls out about this, a lot of the members within this organization help with the content of this symposium. They are our thought leaders within the advanced energy industry, and so we encourage them to get involved with us from the symposium standpoint and showcase their thought leadership by being on panels, sponsoring panels, speaking, doing case studies and things like that. So it's a really, really rich opportunity to both network and learn from colleagues within your own industry. I would like to open up the session for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or put it in the question area, and I will unmute you and you can ask your question. Anybody? Okay, well, you are obviously free to send us your questions, and we can answer them offline, certainly. Just another last piece of information. Our membership's based on the number of employees that a business employs. Membership starts at $250, so it's a relatively valuable investment that you're making for your industry. And we really do encourage you to please join us and help us lead this industry. You can go to ohioadvancedenergy.org/membership or ohioadvancedenergy.org/join-now, and you can take care of membership right there on the website. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us or give us a call. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.